I'm changing things. How often do you hear that? Probably pretty often, right? From your friend trying something new, from your manager, to rights movements and activists. If anything's constant, it's change. From me, you, business, especially business, right? They love to change things, and they have to keep up with change, because that's the way that they can expand, they can innovate, they can change things, they can thrive. And just look at all the changes that they have made, all the innovative things that they've done. I mean, just taking a look at Google, the biggest search engine. There was a time when no one knew them. Then they revolutionized information discovery, essentially created the digital ad economy. And now they're into AI and tech innovation, and they'll probably do a whole lot more. They're even investing like $75 billion in AI this year, which is pretty insane. And you can imagine just how much change that will cause. But if you asked about who Google was in 1997, no one would know. If you queried anyone about ads, I doubt that they would be talking about a digital ad economy. I doubt they'd even have conceptualized that. And yet it happened, right? Even though we couldn't imagine it, it exists today. And I think it's similar to that quote that's sort of floating around somewhere, which talks about how if you asked years and years back, when horses were the primary means of travel, if you asked about how we can make travel faster, they wouldn't have said cars. They wouldn't have said trains, they wouldn't have said planes or rockets. They'd have said faster horses. Because they couldn't conceptualize cars. Planes didn't exist. Much less rockets. And that makes sense. There is a limit to our imagination. We can't conceptualize some stuff that doesn't exist. I mean, if you try to think of a completely different colour, it's not going to work, right? Because you can think of a name, but you can't actually think of a colour. Because we've only got so many colours that we see, and we've already named the in-betweens. We can't physically think of a completely new colour. But that shouldn't mean that we stop looking for one. That we should close our minds off entirely to what could be. And I find it kind of surprising that all the way that we've come so far, we've seen things. Like, we can see how back in the past, things that we didn't conceptualize have been realized, and now they're normal, right? We can see how something that didn't exist in the past, something that we never would have imagined, has come to be a reality now. And something that's not just widely accepted, but the new baseline, the new normal. And we'll have those moments in future as well, where things that we haven't really thought of today will be here tomorrow. They'll be the new baseline, the new normal. They'll just exist. But even though we've come this far, our mind hasn't changed even slightly. I'm changing things. How often do you hear that? Probably pretty often, right? From your friend trying something new, from your manager, to rights movements and activists. If anything's constant, it's change. If anything's consistent, it's change. From me, you, business, especially business, right? They love to change things, and they need to keep up with changes so that they can continue to expand, to innovate, to thrive. And just look at some of the changes that they have made. I mean, Google, the biggest search engine. There was a time when no one knew them. Then they revolutionized information discovery, essentially created digital ad economy. They've entered AI and tech innovation, and they're probably going to do a whole lot more. They're even investing like $75 billion in AI this year, which is pretty insane. Can you imagine the amount of change that can cause? But at the same time, if you asked anyone in 1997 about Google, they'd not have known them. If you'd queried about the progression or advancement of ads, I doubt any of them would have said digital ad or digital ad economy. It's similar to that quote that's floating around somewhere, which basically says about how if you went back in time, back when horses were the main means of transportation, of travel, and asked them, what can we do to make travel even faster? They wouldn't have replied cars, or planes, or trains, or rockets. They'd have said faster horses. Because they just simply couldn't conceptualize it yet. The possibility of cars or planes or the existence of rockets. If it doesn't exist, it's very hard to imagine it. And it's pretty similar with business. Are we reaching our fullest potential? Probably not. Simply because in order to do that, we need to understand the limitations, the boundaries of our imagination, and push through them. We may not understand how we go from A to B, how we manage to do that, but that shouldn't stop us. We may not know what the x is in algebra, but if the answer's 15 and we're just adding 1 to x, we can figure out that it's 14, just from what we've learnt. Similarly, even if we can't conceptualize something, we can acknowledge that there is a way to get where we want to go. Just because the newest mode of fast transportation hasn't been imagined yet, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist in future. We may not know the shape or form it takes, but we do know it's there. It's only through our experiences, trial and error, that we get to know what the how is. I mean, do you think Tesla knew exactly how it was going to make its cars good for the environment? I mean, people have been playing around with the idea of hydrogen and oxygen to make water, to make cars move and things like that, as options to be better for the environment for years. It just didn't work that well. Then there were electric cars, and Tesla took advantage of that. I mean, it introduced the first successful business model for bringing electric cars to the market. You made use of direct sales and service, and also addressed one of the main obstacles, the lack of charging stations. And right now, Tesla is pushing for approval on autonomous driving software and driverless taxis. Then there's Microsoft, which develops, manufactures, licenses, supports, and sells computer software, consumer electronics, personal computers, and other related services, right? They're also investing in AI now, by the way. And also Apple, you know? They design, develop, sell consumer electronics, software, online services, you know, Apple TV, iTunes. Well, it used to be iTunes. It's known for its innovation and for its seamless user experience. Right now it's rumoured to be preparing the launch of their AR glasses and new health monitoring features across devices, which monitors things like glucose and mental health apparently. These things change how we interact with the world. It goes beyond to revolutionise things, to make things better. More businesses could be doing that. Businesses should be doing more. That should set the standard. Every business should inspire moonshot thinking, like Tesla, whose bold steps into anything has created a series of startups to follow suit. Every business should change the way we interact with the world, like Apple has with tech. Who had heard of wearable tech pre-2000s? Every business should revolutionize things as we know it, like Microsoft has with personal computing. I mean, there was no true mass market software before Microsoft. Businesses should be more impactful. They should offer more. They should push the boundaries. That's what we want. That's what we need. These kinds of changes, these innovations, they uplift us all. We could achieve so much more. And just think, this is us now. This is us with adversity. This is what we're doing right now with adversity. So you can imagine what it'd be like without it. If we accepted change, if we encouraged it. Businesses that give back to us. Businesses that thrive as much as we do. What kind of world that would make. A world full of connection, betterment, and good. And who wouldn't want a world like that? A world focused less on survival and more on thriving. It just makes more logical sense. I'm starting something. I want to offer connection, betterment, and value. Stay posted for more details on that, by the way. But for now, all you need to know is this. I want others to gain. I want the world to benefit. A world where survival isn't an issue, where connection is the baseline, alongside betterment and value, where we have more potential, and where we can advance even more. Life shouldn't be the bare necessities. We shouldn't be struggling. I mean, we've practically got AI. Why are we struggling? What we dream of can become reality. Nothing's impossible. We've just got to put in the effort to make it happen. Now, how often do you hear that? If this is something you want to see, DM me on Insta.